The most magnetic people you know typically aren't always the most conventionally attractive ones. They're the ones who learned how to genuinely like themselves and tune out voices that echoed anything else. By doing this, they develop qualities that create fulfilling relationships and meaningful success. Emotional intelligence, genuine interest in others, skills, humor, and most importantly, kindness. The incredible women you're about to see next, put aside their combined net worth, is sitting comfortably in the millions, have all attained a level of untouchability that is required of you when you decide to max out your potential. They also prove that the journey of moving into your dream life happens on a completely different level or frequency than what we've been taught. There is this strange new trend. Maybe it's always existed, but I know you've seen it on TikTok or Instagram. Someone starts recording and immediately says, "I'm oh so ugly." They'll usually zoom in on their hair, complain about their weight, or compare themselves to someone they perceive to be attractive. You can see how much their reflection is eating them up. It doesn't help that they're recording this on a phone camera, which presents nothing more than a flattened, distorted version of you. So I want to know, does how you look actually determine how your life unfolds? What if there's someone out there who looks exactly like you? I'm talking doppelganger level. But they're somehow living the life you think you can't have because of your appearance. Same face as you, but a completely different life. And are the beauty standards we talk so much about actually as powerful as we think? Or does obsessing over how you look just distract you from making the changes that will actually impact your life? Studies show that when you actually believe you're worth people's time, the way you act completely changes. You look people in the eye, feel your words hold value, and go for opportunities that others avoid. On the other hand, when you're staring at your phone camera, picking yourself apart, you're more likely to make decisions that increase that feeling of dissatisfaction. For example, you might rush into cosmetic surgery without doing enough research and end up feeling much worse than before you got it. You might choose hairstyles that look good on other people, but fail to complement your unique characteristics. At the end of the video, you'll leave knowing the specific qualities you need to start cultivating in order to be a person of substance and have a crystal clear action plan on how to stop feeling like you are not enough. You can also apply to join the Insider's newsletter if you want continuous guidance straight to your inbox. In the last email, I explained how you can use social media to be your fairy godmother instead of your brain-rotting assistant.
We all operate a little differently when we're sure we can win versus if we just hope we will. And this can be a helpful check.
I always told my mom, when I'm 20 years old, something big is going to happen. My mom says, okay, just stay in school. I told everybody and everyone thought that I was crazy. But the way that I said it, it wasn't that I wanted it. It was just there. I was so confident in it. Something's going to happen. I'm 20. The way I was like, the sun's going to come up. And then I got scouted when I was 19.
There's this photographer, Steve Hill, and he took a photo of me. I was not ready. I was just walking by. He took it, and I was like, all right, here's my Instagram. And then I went home. Within like the next 24 hours, I got like 30,000 followers or something. It was crazy. And then I got calls from agencies. I got flown out to New York by Next. They signed me that same day.
The first Prada show that I did, I told my mom, I said, didn't I tell you? I said, I'm 20. I said, I was 1 year late. What? I told you. And she goes, oh my God, yeah, you said it. My career's a lot of manifesting and a lot of preparing for the manifestations that I wanted. I believe in the universe a lot. And I believe that like what's meant to happen is going to happen.
Before the world knew her face, Anok already existed in a space of unshakable knowing. She understood, to some degree, the concept of manifestation, and more specifically, was very aware of her internal convictions. Anok wasn't just confident.
I was so confident in it. The way I was like, the sun's gonna come up.
She had a deep certainty in her mental, emotional, and physical. Your brain is a servo mechanism. It listens to your inputs and adjusts your life accordingly. You want to be speaking in the affirmative. Find something you already know is true and exists, and fully understand what it feels like to have something. This is how you start decoding the frequency of conviction. You understand the mental, emotional, and physical components that make it what it is. It's important to note that Anok simply said yes to an invitation to her friend's event, and yes to a random photo being taken of her. She had no idea these two answers would lead her to her core conviction. She did not limit what was going to happen to her by pigeonholing outcomes. She felt it and trusted life to deliver the best experience for who she was and what she had to offer. Trying to copy someone else's appearance might feel safe, but it leaves you constantly chasing a type of satisfaction that never quite hits. Copying leads you to live out a cheaper version of someone else's success, whilst you abandon your gold. Sure, appearance has some influence, but not how most people think. Thousands of people look similar to any successful person you admire, yet they'll never achieve the same results. Why? They lack the same internal convictions. Most people casually use their words to deplete their life of internal conviction by involving themselves in habits on the right instead of the ones on the left. If you want to become a person of substance, stop measuring yourself against others. Turn inward. Build habits that strengthen your convictions rather than weaken them. What does it feel like to be completely untouched by the need for approval? This woman embodies a level of authenticity that most people can only dream of.
So I had absolutely nothing on making this video. No money. I was doing horrible in school. Even though everything was horrible at that point, I knew things will have a turnaround. So I just let things go with the flow. I relaxed. I let everything around me crumble. And I was like, the universe will work everything out. And the universe did.
Many people on the Forbes top creators list say, oh, you know, I kind of lucked into fame. I don't know, I just got famous one day. Not you. You have always known that you were going to be a star and you were just waiting for the world to acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. How did you know that you were meant to be famous?
You know, when you just have a gut feeling, I didn't know I was going to be famous. I just thought I was destined for something great and something amazing. And I always knew I was special and a star and something was going to happen. I always knew I would become iconic. I didn't know how I would do it, but I knew it would be done. And I'm doing it and I will keep doing it.
It's like everything I want, I can have. It's just, it's a phone call away or a text or a DM away.
Fenty, Netflix, Mac.
I believe when you say something, like, God will make it come true.
Majimbo's life was crumbling around her the exact moment she hit record on the video that would change the trajectory of her life. In 2019, her reality looked nothing like her dreams, yet she kept creating. Why? What would make someone keep going when there was no sign that her videos were of any value to anyone? It would appear that she understood something that many people don't, and had something that many people don't. Was it her personality? Or maybe her good looks? Or maybe Elsa had something intangible to the human eye. Her internal state was filled with faith. You could tell by the way she spoke positivity into her world. It was effortless. She knew that outside situations would have to give in to what her gut told her was right. And while reality clearly couldn't compete with Majimbo, that didn't stop life from putting up a fight. Elsa talks openly about the bullying and insults she's faced, but nothing hurt as much as how her family reacted when they discovered her videos online.
We sat on a table and they said some really, really hurtful things. I'll never forget the things they said in that table. I'll never forget. That's the most hurt I've gone through. That was really horrible. They said some really horrible stuff to me on that table. And I really cried. I cried for days. I'm sorry.
On those regular neighborhood walks that she still takes to this day, she would lose herself in a world of music or create more iconic videos in the comfort of her home to make herself laugh. It was during her most turbulent moments that Elsa discovered that surrendering life to the universe came with an unexpected treasure. That treasure was joy. You see, joy isn't an abstract destination you reach when your life finally looks the way you want it to. It's not going to magically show up once you have the perfect appearance or the perfect circumstances. Joy is actually a subtle frequency, one you have to tune into slowly, guided by tiny blessings that appear in the middle of the turbulence. These blessings are available even when you're surrounded by aggressive winds, rubble, and floors crumbling beneath your feet. As long as you're still breathing, you have a choice. You can either decide to tune in to faith or fear. But truly tuning in, the type that makes you untouchable, also requires some tuning out. You have to detach. Detachment is activated once you overflow with faith. When this happens, you allow all the natural forces beyond your control take their course, trusting that when the dust settles, everything will fall exactly where it needed to fall.
My net worth went through the roof. That's what happened to the old Elsa. Oh, your style has changed so much. Well, your style has changed. Yeah, I'm rich now.
When you find yourself in an uncomfortable situation, whether you're being insulted, unhappy with some aspect of your appearance, or your life simply decides to wander down an obscure alleyway in the hood, the situation might be out of your control, but that does not matter one bit. This is where you need to use your tools correctly. If you don't, you'll just end up prolonging whatever mess you're trying to get out of. There is a metaphysical reason why that happens, which I'll discuss on my Substack, where I break down reality in more depth. Elsa may have had emotional ups and downs, but her actions and thoughts were always consistent with what she declared for her life. The next Woman of Gold is an embodiment of what happens when you nurture the substance of acceptance. She gets the importance of freedom and values the rare and forgotten art of looking within for answers.
And I don't need anything outside of myself and the glory of God to lead me anywhere in my career.
To be a great artist, you have to be free within yourself. You can't be too scared.
Stop creating from the perspective of what other people want you to make.
You look at too much of the good, it could distract you. You look at too much of the bad, it could distract you. You know what I mean? I don't pay attention to it. Too many opinions. My meditation comes from routine and skincare to me is meditation. That's the most important thing. I like to take a blazing hot shower, and after my shower, I do my skincare, which is about a 10-step routine. And then I'll probably move into hair care, which is a journey. I'm growing my hair out, so that's a long step, 10-step process as well.
I will do my facial and everything in the shower. I wash my hair, you know what I'm saying, get my hair follicles all washed. And once I'm out the shower, I look at myself in the mirror while I'm oiling my skin. Cocoa butter, coconut oil, shea butter, whatever. And I say thank you for every part of my body. I admire every part of my body. I look for the things that I don't like about my body, and the goal is to stay in the bathroom until I love that part of my body. And I tell myself I'm beautiful. With no makeup on, with my facial, whatever I have on in the moment, I tell myself I'm beautiful. I'll play my favorite music, Janae Aiko, Lauryn Hill. I'll do a little music, Soul Child. I like something that's real easy, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott. I'll listen to something that makes me feel good. It's about looking at yourself, accepting what you have on your body as it is, and saying thank you for it, and loving it, and telling it that it is beautiful. So that's
my invitation for the Scaparelli show. Oh, wow. Beautiful. I'm so excited. What does it mean to be a pop star? It means to be a leader of influence of a culture that deeply needs influencing and love.
What interests me about the idea of Doechii is her unapologetic dedication to sovereignty. The way she speaks reveals how deeply she's learned to trust her own voice. That level of trust typically doesn't appear overnight, but experiences that demand self-reliance can lead you within. Over time, she cultivated a powerful relationship with her inner world that allowed her to be vulnerable in her art and take creative risks only someone secure in their identity could make. Her YouTube uploads document not just her wins, but also her setbacks and losses. Together, they form not only a digital journal, but a museum of transformation. By refusing to polish away the rough edges, she created a space untouched by the low frequencies of judgment and shame. After all, how can you shame someone who openly owns every part of who they are? In doing so, Doechii sidestepped two of the most draining forces a person can carry. Like many others, Doechii wasn't always satisfied with her appearance, and she spoke about that openly. Yet, instead of letting dissatisfaction control her actions, she cultivated the substance of acceptance. If she decides to make any external changes, these decisions do not come from trying to escape herself, but from a desire to evolve. You see, it's not the action that matters, but the place of consciousness that action comes from. Ironically, that shift freed her to use her appearance as a tool in achieving her goals. Release creates movement. When energy is no longer trapped in self-criticism, it flows into something useful. When she describes her process of becoming the woman we see today, it's clear that even the smallest acts of daily consistency, like her shower routine, became critical tools for grounding her choices in abundance rather than rejection. If you follow my work, you'll know that self-acceptance is not always gentle or romantic. It asks you to re-examine the stories you've been repeating and confront the possibility that you've been your own bully, liar, or manipulator. Honesty in this form means recognizing when your words say you've accepted something, but your actions reveal otherwise. Therapy and journaling can also help uncover why we do the things we do without judgment. Looking at yourself honestly lets you see where you are right now, not where you think you should be. Because if you try to skip this stage and leap straight into fixing, you're building on a foundation of rejection, and anything rooted in rejection will eventually collapse. At any given moment, there's always the option to blame some part of you for why things aren't working out. If you just fix that one thing, everything else would finally fall into place. But it's that exact belief that is both practically and actually robbing you of your success. Now, for a moment, let's define what success actually is. One of my favorite quotes is from the Master Key system, where success is described as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The ideal we focus on here is a woman of substance, class, and effortless wealth. But this kind of success doesn't come in the way you were taught. In fact, a person could spend years obsessing over changing their body, thinking that's the only way they'll attract the right opportunities. Trying to copy someone else's appearance might feel safe, but it leaves you constantly chasing a type of satisfaction that never quite hits. Copying leads you to live out a cheaper version of someone else's success, whilst you abandon your gold. It's easy to become so focused on surface-level things like appearance, or in other words, effects, that you mistake it for a cause. This can lead to endless attempts to look different because you convinced yourself that looking like someone successful will also make you successful. But for people that have done this, it never plays out the way they imagined. So, does how you look determine how your life unfolds? The answer is yes. How you look absolutely shapes your life. But I'm not talking about your reflection in the mirror. I'm talking about how you look at life itself. How you look isn't about appearance. It's about perception. It's the lens you use, your internal eyes, your worldview, your way of seeing that determines your outcomes. Two people can share the same physical traits, yet live completely different lives. Why? Because one looks at themselves with limitation, while the other looks with possibility. Person A sees their crooked teeth and thinks, I can't smile in photos or speak publicly until I fix these. Person B sees the same teeth and thinks, this is part of my charm. It makes my smile genuine and unforgettable. Person A hides. Person B becomes a confident speaker. One person looks at their curvy figure through eyes of faith and thinks, I can be healthy and confident at this size. They walk into the gym and get started. Another looks at the same body with fear and thinks, I'll be judged if I'm seen exercising. They stay home. These examples show how identical features, crooked teeth, weight, hair, lead to entirely different paths. The difference isn't in the body, it's in the lens. And that's why chasing someone else's appearance never works. You're copying the wrong thing. What you should be studying isn't how they look, but how they looked at life. And after a while, you too might notice that the patterns to freedom are pretty consistent across the board.